Alrighty, guys, welcome to a new segment on our channel. We call this the pit stop. Flying around. Eventually, we gotta refuel that Neo Argument, don't we? Don't we, Gundam Mike?
Well, that and also the massive postal depression we have to live in this year.
Obviously, but it's fine. Stick around. Watch us derp around playing some Magic, and maybe, just maybe, we'll talk about anime. If we feel like it.
Possibly.
Possibly. Am I keeping this? We'll keep this. Anyways, tell us some news, Mike. You're always in the know about news relating to anime.
I love how the first thing that comes up when I click anime is anime girl. Anime bunny girl, where to find.
Well, some people want that anime bunny girls.
I mean, everybody does.
Well, let us know in the comments below what your waifu is. We don't judge. It's 2020. It's a free space.
Or husband do
whatever you want.
So I'm looking at some of the new anime coming out, and of course, one of Kevin's favorite anime of all time, Irregular Magic High School, is coming out.
Ooh, tell us about that.
Oh no, that show's shit. I'm just saying it because Kevin's gonna be pissed off that I remind him the show's coming out. Then of course we have the infamous One Room season 3 coming out,
which is about
that one is the I am very lonely and I want to pretend I have a girlfriend simulator.
Oh God.
Yes, the whole anime revolves on 3-minute segments where you are put in the perspective for first person, talking to whichever girl that episode lands. And it's just as sad as it sounds.
So it's like a visual novel in the form of an anime.
Yeah, I guess so. It takes a lot more pretending than you would think, but yes. This is an ongoing project. I don't remember who is the one that made this anime, but I do probably think they're doing quite well considering that they actually made 3 seasons of this.
For sure.
I don't know what would be more awkward, like watching the anime as a DVD or online, or watching it if this episodes actually appear. Like, can you imagine if they appear live on TV?
That would be
in Japan, and like you're watching it and your mom gets you watching it. And it's like, hey, honey, what you watching? And you're like, oh, Honado-san, please tell me about how much you love me.
Oh God, how about no? That sounds sad.
I mean, with all the things that have come out lately, this is probably the less saddest out of everything. You have virtual freaking phone girlfriends that now will tell you to sleep with you. Not in the fun way.
Oh God, okay. Well, moving away from creepy, what else is new?
Moving away from creepy, I'm looking here. A couple of famous, popular mangas got an anime that are coming out this couple of years. Along with that, we also have the remake to Shaman King. And if you didn't see that coming, neither did anyone else.
Oh God, but stop teasing us. You said there was mangas getting anime adaptations. Which mangas?
I am looking at because I suck at remembering names, but one of them is, I believe, Stop Bullying Me, Nagato-san. I think is his name. You can correct me if I'm wrong. But it's basically a manga where a younger girl is kind of smitten by her art senpai, and she decides to mess with him. I mean, being her own way of displaying her love for him. It's a very funny manga, very comedic. Things get a little wild when she realizes that his senpai might have feelings for him too, and crazy romance comedy to come.
Another rom-com. I mean, I don't per se dislike rom-coms.
This couple of years have been fulfilled with massive rom-coms. It's one of those things where the anime just came really late to the party because this manga has been out for a while, and it was for a while considered to be one of the best rom-coms out there. But unfortunately, now that it's coming out, it's coming out at this wave of rom-coms that are out in the market as there is.
Right. And it's
Hey,
like
at least it's not another isekai.
fair enough.
Because we're getting a shitload of those again.
Oh my god, it's all about Truck-kun.
Yes. Reliving my life. I do not know what the name of this will be. I think it's how you call it, finding my way in a new world. I'm not entirely sure the name. I'll just say it's another isekai manga that is getting an anime. Apparently, it's coming out next year. It was supposed to come out this year, but
Right.
So we should be seeing that soon. That one is about a net person that stayed at home all the time until his parents died. His brothers and sisters were so pissed off at him staying at home, even to the point that their parents died, that they decided to kick him out home. And when he was in the streets, he found a couple kids that were about to get hit by a truck-kun. He decided to go like, no, you kids don't go on an adventure. I go on an adventure, and decided to save them, which, you get hit by a truck, you get a harem. It's mandatory. It's like Japanese law or something.
Right. All right. Obviously, Japanese law.
Exactly. So, and yes, that is the story of that one, and it is actually much more interesting than it sounds. It's definitely a very unique take on an isekai, especially with how they treat the family and how things get twisted. It is also what I like to say, and I can't believe I'm saying this, one of the most grounded when it comes to harems. I mean, let's just say at least it has a limit.
I was gonna say, how can a harem be grounded?
By having a limit, at least.
What's the limit? 20, 30, 40, or 50?
3. Then a new special anime coming from BN Pictures. It promises to be a blend between real life high school girls and anime. And by that I mean they're gonna pretty much do that shit they did with other anime where they like use human people for certain parts and then switch to anime for others.
I've seen shows like that where half of the show it's all live action and then the other half is animated stuff.
We'll have to see how exactly it all turns out, because they make it seem like a big project, but sometimes it's just like a 3-minute OVA every like 12th day of the week or something like that.
Right.
And I feel like that's pointless at that point. Like, if you're gonna make a 3-minute OVA, just make the whole thing animated. You can't possibly tell me that saving you like a minute and a half by being real life is saving you any real money at that point.
Right, of course.
So I guess we'll see.
Yeah, at this point, we'll have to see.
The Shaman King sequel is supposed to come out this coming starting spring.
God, how excited are you for that?
I don't know. I don't even know why this came to be. I mean, I know there was fans. I know people still wanted this to be brought back, and I thought they were gonna do one of those things like they did with Bleach, where they're gonna bring back the show just for that final season that never got animated.
Right.
I didn't expect them to redo the whole fucking show.
Well, I'm sure there's fans out there, and I'm sure someone's gonna be happy for that.
Ironically, I don't think the fans are going to be too happy with the show. I'm not that I don't think the show can be good. It's just that, what we liked about the show is the corniness, right?
Yeah.
A lot of us like to talk shit about 4Kids, but a lot of what we liked about those old school shows was the corniness and how everything went out.
Right. Which is, shifting away for a moment, I think that's why Power Rangers was so successful. Because it was very campy and corny, and it was just all around 90s.
And I see this going the same way as the new Digimon series goes. You're going to get some fans curious and interested about the story, but you're not going to get enough. Then we also have, of course, that the anime that many of you might have been waiting for and really kind of came in fast on that one is the Inuyasha sequel, Yasahime. Is coming out, I believe, either this Friday or next Friday.
Oh, wow.
It's coming in October.
Don't know about you, but I'm definitely going to be watching that. And I don't know let us know in the comments below if you guys want us to cover that.
It's going to be pretty interesting. I definitely wouldn't mind giving it a cover. I feel like it's... there's a lot to unpack about that one. But I feel like it's going to be good. I'm kind of sad because I don't really feel I'm going to care for it too much. Just because...
Why?
because the base part about Inuyasha was the chemistry between Kagome and Inuyasha. And yeah, sure, I might get some of that in the show, but they're not the main characters anymore.
Yeah, no, it's. I'm hate to say this, and I'm probably wrong in calling it this, but a lot of people call it the Boruto effect, where the show's been milked to the point where it's no longer about the main protagonist, but they want to milk it, so they're like, oh, what else can we do? I'll give the protagonist kids, and give the protagonist villains kids, and have that be a thing.
I don't know if it's like, we can pull it to the same extent, but
No, obviously not, but that's just the quote
you can pull it,
unquote title that I've heard consistently.
So I just got the English title of the show I was talking about earlier. It's called "Don't Toy Me, Miss Nagatoro." That's
Right.
the name of that manga over there. Then another manga that's also getting an anime, and it's kind of surprising to me because I didn't think it was that popular. Is how a realist hero rebuilt a kingdom. Is a very interesting isekai from the perspective of not exactly a guy with powers, but instead a guy who just knows a lot, who comes to a different world and helps rebuild a kingdom with his knowledge of Earth. This is taken more from a practical stand and more of a realistic stand. So pretty much it's like, he had quite a bit of knowledge of medicine and infrastructure and society. So he was able to quickly fix major issues in society that would happen in the Middle Ages.
Oh, that's
But
interesting.
anyway, huh? Yes.
That's
It's a very interesting anime. It's definitely worth a try. If anything more, just because there's very good chemistry between the main character and his quote unquote fiance.
Right. Why quote unquote?
I mean, it's one of those things where they were obligated to marry each other, but it starts turning from obligation to there's something there.
Oh, so it's one of those kind of things, like back in those ages, where you got kind of married off to a family, but they actually found a spark at some point.
Yes and no, really, because he's not from that time. He's actually from the normal world in our time. So
Right.
it's yeah. Anyways, from there we also have the sequel. I'm saying sequel because up to now I haven't gotten evidence that it's not a sequel series. But a lot of people are telling me it is actually just a rebrand or a remake
Of?
of How Not to Summon a Demon Lord.
Oh my god.
Now,
Hopefully it is a sequel because that was a really good show.
I'm gonna have to disagree. I believe the manga was better, but that's not the point.
I haven't read the manga, so I'm coming from the perspective of just have watched the anime. And
I think
thought
the show
anime
had a
was
little
really
bit too
well.
much fan service for its own good. But
I mean, I
that's the
don't
point.
deny the fan service was there at all, but the story was pretty interesting.
This is one of those shows that actually had like some canon issues because there was enough fans of it in Japan that people liked it. So this is why I'm saying it could be a remake because it didn't do well here, or at least not well enough. And it's either a second attempt of releasing or they did go ahead and do a sequel. Although if it is a sequel, I feel like the branding is kind of meh. It should be a little bit more obvious.
What do
But
you mean?
again, I don't know. It should be a little bit more obvious that's a sequel.
Oh, I guess so. Yeah. Because
Yes.
I mean, if even you don't know that it's a sequel, then there's some sort of issue there.
Yes. Now here's the last couple ones that are also mangas that have become animes. One of them that I'm really waiting for is Koi to Yuba no Wakichi wa Wuro, which doesn't have an English title yet, and that's why I have to say all that shit.
Great. So all of that, whatever you just said, tell us about that.
It's another romance comedy, which another unfortunate event where this comedy came out a long time ago, but never got released in anime. But this time it did. Basically, this is an anime about a gentleman who works at a company who is a playboy. One day he stumbles upon a girl who is very down to earth and helps him, but at the same time pretty much insults the fuck out of him because she kind of found him creepy, how easy he kind of just wanted to know about her. And it turns out that this girl is the best friend of his younger sister, and she's in high school, and he needs to change his ways to try to get her. And she is disgusted by people like him because they seem like they're really just really like high school girls.
I
So it's kind of one
mean,
of
to be
those.
fair, Japanese people do have a big thing with high school girls. So yeah.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Anyways, besides that, we're also getting. I've been killing slimes for 300 years, and I maxed out my level, which is a comedy slice of life type isekai, which deals more about the everyday life of an over OP character and the friends that she makes in this new world after finding immortality in
Sounds
her
a
new
lot
life.
like Bofuri. It was the same concept. It was a comedy take
Yeah, this
on
one
all these
actually came
isekais.
first in manga wise.
Obviously,
Yeah.
but I mean, I'm coming from the perspective of I only saw the anime, so the
Also,
only reference.
I wouldn't put it in the same way. Buffer does have some elements of slice of life, but this is a more slice of life
Right,
kind of.
right. But I mean it in the respects of it being a comedy, a comedic take on the whole isekai thing.
Sure. This was more of just a girl fighting final piece about her stress from her original life. But anyways,
Right.
then we have of course the Isekai Quarter 3
Oh,
announced.
Isekai Quartet 3. Wow. Is that show popular enough to get 3 seasons? Yes, it is
Well, I think
apparently.
it's more at this point that it's just promoting the shows that are popular.
Which then I hope that means that we do get a new season for Overlord. Because at this point, that's all we can hope
Yes.
for.
And then, well, we know it's coming. It's just going to take a while because of how Overlord's written. At this point, they're trying to not only have the next season finished, but also the start to what would be, I guess, the next season after that. I'm pretty sure they're only going to have 3 more seasons at max. We might actually only get 2 more seasons.
Wow. Speaking of, I am also hoping we get a new season for Tanya Saga of Evil. That was a really good one too.
I feel like that one's probably not coming anytime soon because that came out recently.
I mean, yeah, we recently got a movie too. The movie was pretty decent. Alrighty, so what? My dog is now a 1-1 with no abilities. How dare you?
Your dog is just a dog now. Also, Megalobox Season 2 coming out.
Was that popular? Did people like that?
Some people like that. I think it was a fair ratio. I didn't get to see all of it, and I think I should give it another try.
Yeah, I mean, people at
Oh,
work have talked about it. So even if people that don't watch anime have talked about it, then it has to be popular to some degree.
that is something you are definitely going to be interested in. Mushi Shino coming out, which is a sequel to Sweetness and Lightning.
A sequel to Sweetness and Lightning?
Yes.
Ooh la la! You've piqued my
Manga actually
interest.
goes all the way to her high school years and further on, and this is basically the anime sequel to the first part of the manga.
Wow, when are we getting that? Because I mean, to me, Sweetness and Lightning was one of those super duper adorable animes that you just
It
sit there and you just enjoy.
it hasn't officially been announced yet when exactly, but I would say you can take a wild guess, and it's gonna probably come out in the beginning of next season.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Rent a Girlfriend 2 has been announced.
I
They're
heard that
working on
show
it.
was garbage, but then again, I don't know any better. I haven't actually seen it
The
personally.
show is actually well. I can only go by the manga. I haven't watched the episode show yet. I'm actually gonna try to watch it soon. But the manga was actually really great. I don't see how anyone could say that it's garbage. But then again, I have a lot of perspective of what's gonna happen in the manga, and it's
Right,
not.
that sometimes skews your view of a show when you know how it progresses, because then you're like, oh, this stuff is happening now, and I know what's happening next. I can wait for it.
And it is a very unique take in love story, and it does have some very interesting plots to come. From what I understand, this show ends somewhere around chapter 20, which is fairly early in the manga. It doesn't actually prescribe any real of the big heart hitters that come out towards the end or towards the
Right.
middle of the manga so far. But yes, there's that. On other news, Black Clover will soon come back to its main plot once the manga chapters reach the new story arc
Oh
of the
yeah, I heard a
story.
lot of people are really into Black Clover now.
Huh?
I said I heard that a lot of people are really into Black Clover right now.
Yes, it is. Black Clover was a slow boil, but it came out punching when it did. It was definitely interesting setup for a show.
If you say so.
Shield Hero 2 also seems like he's going to be announced somewhere around, probably somewhere at the beginning of next year's season to the middle, where we might get some announcement of when it's coming out. But we do know that the Rising Shield Hero Season 3 is also in production works.
Wow, I really like Rising Shield Hero, so yeah, I'm really excited for that.
Yes, the anime has kind of taken quite a undertaking of a fandom, actually. They're almost as like gasping to it as much as people gasped into Overlord.
Right, yeah, I mean, both series were really popular, so I can kind of understand why.
I drew very bad.
It happens. Well,
The Cooking Master Boy Season 2.
Ooh, what's that?
I don't know. I just randomly saw it and I'm like, huh. Usagi-chan Season 2 has been announced and will be coming back.
Really? Possibly. I expected this to end the way it ended. The way it ended felt like they left it open-ended on purpose, but they kind of wrapped everything up at the same time.
No, they only got in through, like, I think only the first 30 chapters of the manga?
I mean, probably, you're not wrong. I'm just saying from the perspective of having watched only the anime, and I know that there's a lot of people
you gotta understand that this specifically, I mean, even in the manga, at a lot of the beginning parts and a lot of the plot of the show doesn't come out until like randomly, because it's kind of the same scenario as what they did for Kiss Note, you know, that show where it looked like it ended, but not really according to the manga. The manga kept going and introduced new characters and everything.
Right.
The same thing with Usagi-chan. We actually haven't seen a lot of the new characters that will show up. Plus, from what I've seen from clips of the show kind of froze in Usagi-chan's mother a lot more in the first season than she was actually there.
Yeah, to be fair, you see her twice in the show. You see her in 2 different episodes.
Yeah, she's not really mentioned that much, and she does get shown, but it's kind of like late into those 30 chapters. So,
right.
Another thing you might really be interested in is not only do we get a new Show by Rock show, but we're also getting a new Zombie Land saga coming out possibly next
spring. Show by Rock came out so many millennia ago. I thought that show was done. I mean, I really enjoyed
this one introduces new characters, and it's kind of more of like the old characters are now mentors in the show.
That's cool. And we're getting a new Zombieland saga. I didn't expect that.
Yes. Much like life, it's unexpected.
Oh, God. I don't know if that's good or bad.
Well, I guess we'll see. We're getting quite a bit of good movies coming out in the next couple of years.
Ooh, what kind of movies?
We have one about a girl who does not have legs and has to be chauffeured around by a person that's put there as her personal helper while she's in college. And they start a whole new relationship.
Sounds interesting, I guess.
Yes. It's one of those.
Yes, let's move on to the next segment. Alright, well, then I guess I'm going to bring up, we talked about Digimon earlier. I'm actually currently watching it. I think it's like an amazing show. But I am going to talk about it and bring up a few concerns that I've seen people talk about before. A lot of people have mentioned that the show feels like a Monster of the Week kind of show. And the beginning felt like it was a lot more paced and a lot more quicker. And then it just turned into Monster of the Week.
In the beginning of the original Digimon series that came out, like back in the day, it had that feeling, at least in the very beginning. It was the same kind of like Monster of the Week, because I don't know how the show is working right now, but it was pretty much, they were exploring a brand new land. And they face creatures as they go.
Right. Give you a quick rundown then, I guess. And again, this is all in the thumbnail, and this is everywhere else, but spoilers ahead for people that haven't watched. Basically, they kind of speed up the plot a little bit. They don't have every protagonist be introduced all at once. They introduce them between the first few episodes. So that's kind of nice, you know. They don't have everybody at once. They do the summer camp scene really quickly, and instead of them getting teleported during the summer camp, they get teleported later. And they introduce Izzy and Ty first. They're like neighbors in like the same like building complex that they live in or something. Whatever. So long story short, uh, Ty ends up being thrown into the digital world. It feels a lot like they're covering the movie with Diaboromon or whatever, because they get thrown into the digital world, but it's all like internet and like all this like data stream and stuff. And then at that point, Ty realizes that he's not there by himself. He realizes that he's there with Matt. Then they introduce Gabumon. Izzy hasn't jumped into the digital world yet. All that stuff. It's just pretty much just doing that shenanigans. It feels a lot like they're going way ahead into the show and the movies and stuff, because they gave us Omnimon really quickly in episode 2. Matt and Ty realize that their Digimon aren't capable of fighting whatever villain they're fighting. So at that moment, their Digivices light up. You see their crest light up, and then they do the DNA Digivolve, and then you get Omnimon. It's really nice. It's really interesting. That's nice and dandy, and that's why a lot of people said that it felt really fast paced at the beginning, because they quickly gave us all of that stuff. But then, you know, just as quickly as we got all of that, it kind of started slowing down again. You know, once the show restarted again and everything, they had a recap episode, all that good stuff. Then they started introducing the characters little by little. So they gave us Sora. Then Sora apparently ran chasing Ty, and then she got thrown into the digital world alongside Ty. And then, you know, once they're in the digital world, they end up meeting Joe, and you know, you see him already in there. Then they introduce Mimi as well. So they do episode introductions, and then as they introduce the characters, this is where it starts feeling like Monster of the Week kind of episodes, which is, again, I understand where a lot of people have their issues. It starts to feel at that point where every time a new character gets introduced, they have to show off their Digimon. So you see them going into their champion forms, and they're the ones that magically have to take down that particular villain, because the prior characters aren't strong enough, even though they're also champions. So as a thing, when they introduce Mimi, you know, she's there with all of the Digimon and like protecting the forest area. And then when the monster shows up, Powerman has to digivolve into Togemon, and then they do a big flashy evolution, and Togemon's the only one to be able to take down this monster. And then they do that every episode. They did that when they introduced Joe with Ikakumon. They did that with when Izzy finally rejoined the team. They had his thing. And then once everybody, you know, had reached their champion level, you assume that'd be it with the Monster of the Weeks. But then they continue, and then they're like, oh, because I understand where the show's going. The show is trying to cut away a lot of the dialogue and a lot of the slow pacing that the original show had, and they're just trying to be quick, fast, and they're trying to show you everything that they can in a timely manner without having to waste any precious moment. Unlike the original show, I'm pretty sure this show doesn't have 50 episodes to play around with, so they're trying to cover everything. So the moment you see everyone's champions, they immediately jump again into everyone's ultimates. So every episode is, oh, this particular person has to go ultimate in order to fight the villain. And then you get Metal Greymon, you get Garurumon, you get all of these things that normally would have happened way later. And at this point, I believe the main antagonist is Devimon. He is, I believe, an ultimate. And in the original show, they don't encounter him. By the time they encounter him, they're still in champion, so they can't take him on. So they're going kind of fast paced, and I understand. But then, on the flip side, because they're going fast paced, they have to be kind of monster of the week kind of styled. So yeah, that's pretty much where Digimon's at right now. The newest episode was pretty much them having to all team up, I believe, for the first time, and they're all like in their ultimate forms, and they're all fighting this monster that supposedly has been the quote unquote root cause for why Tokyo is like in disarray or whatever. So they're going about it completely differently from what they did back in the day.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of, a lot of people have been speculating that some big things about to happen with like TK or Kare, because in the newest outro, you see TK in the outro by himself with Paramon in the digital world. And the ending of the last episode, when they do the preview, the preview caption saying, TK and Kari are gonna realize their dreams or whatever. It's like, so something big is gonna happen to them, and we know that their Digimon are really powerful to some degree. So hoping that happens next episode, that we get to see something big happen.
So new interesting character development.
Right, but then again, now after I've just explained this to you, what's your take on the whole thing about it trying to be Monster of the Week? What's your perspective on that?
I think I have to see how it's done, but other than that, I feel like that's just what you would expect.
What exactly, right, from a show that's trying to cram everything at once and make sure that you get as much information as possible?
Well, I kind of just feel like that's... The whole Monster of the Week was already kind of an aspect I saw in the original show, so I don't feel disappointed because of it.
Right.
But other than that, I feel like maybe people are just going a little bit too hard on it.
Maybe.
Maybe. All right, let's move on to something else.
Right. I've been watching... I just watched the finale for Apare Ranman. It starts out like it's a generic racing anime, but it happens to take place in like the 1920s. But trust me, by the time you finish it, the racing aspect of the show would feel really weird, and if it had been just pure racing, it wouldn't have made complete sense.
Well, again, I don't know why you try to compare it to other racing animes. This is not a racing anime. This is specifically
that's what I mean.
an amazing race
It does
kind
not
of
feel
show.
like it's a racing anime at all.
This is specifically very relevant to Amazing Race if you ever liked or watched the Amazing Race. Especially the remake of the Amazing
Race. I've never
Race.
watched it, but a lot of people have related it to the Wacky Races from Hanna-Barbera.
Yes. It's, Wacky Race is kind of like a remake of the Amazing Race with Hanna-Barbera characters.
Right. I don't know. All I'm going to say is the ending was great, and air drifting is apparently a thing. The main protagonist is like third in place in the race, third or fourth, I think, and the only thing he can do is use his secret weapon that might or might not implode his car, and it ends up that his car ends up taking flight, and they're gonna crash into a building. So the best thing they can do, it ends up that they have to find a way to learn how to drift in the 1920s, and they figure it out, and it ends up being amazing as hell.
Are you looking forward to any anime that are coming out next year?
I don't know of anything coming out next year, so tell us about anime next year.
Let's see here.
I guess while you're looking up for that, the thing that everyone's been waiting for, I guess, because there's still a lot of fans for the My Hero manga, My Hero anime. I'm really hyped to see the next season, but if any of you guys are reading the manga, I guess we can cover the latest chapter. I guess it's a quick recap of what's happening right now. They're all fighting. All of the heroes right now are fighting Shigi. A lot of the fighting has centered around Endeavor and Shigi. Deku realizing where Shigi is and realizing how dangerous he can be, immediately has ran to the action. Oh shoot! He's immediately ran to the action. He's been on tail with Bakugo. They've both been kind of like teaming up together, And to be fair, they've been giving Bakugo a lot of character development, which is really nice. I feel like his character has kind of gone almost full circle at this point. But yeah, no. So they've been centering on that. The newest chapter pretty much has Deku using Black Whip, right? And at this point, he's perfected it enough to use it for more than 10 seconds. And he's learned a new technique called Float. So he realizes now that Shigi has his powers back, and if he touches the ground, he'll be able to disintegrate everything. So he's been keeping him afloat. And the last few chapters, a lot of us have speculated. I've been reading comments speculating that Deku has probably destroyed his arms completely. And then, because at some point they do mention a flashback of saying if you use your arms the way you have enough time, you're going to be immobilized. And the creator has been drawing Deku in a way where he hides the arm a lot. But this newest chapter, you see him use 3 repetitive smashes because he's realizing that Shigi keeps regenerating. So he's thinking, if I can damage him faster than he can regenerate, then maybe he might have something there. And at this point, that's probably what's happening. So he used 3 smashes back to back, and then at that point, you see Bakugo look at Todoroki. He tells him to like be ready now, like to like stop cooling down Endeavor, because Endeavor at this point was like at his wit's end. Todoroki shows up at the last second. He cools him down, and then Bakugo's like, nah, it's time for the action. We gotta fly up there and help Deku, because Bakugo's realizing that Deku is like almost at the end of his rope. So Bakugo goes and he flings both of them up in the air. And then pretty much the chapter ends up ending with Endeavor using a prominence burn, thinking that might be enough to stop Shigi. But at the last second, Shigi, comes out of the thing. He's still fighting. It looks like that wasn't the final blow. And he shoots out some things and they attack Endeavor and Todoroki, and they end up falling. Looks like 3 of those spikes are going for Deku, and this is why I'm saying that they did a lot of good character development for Bakugo. In the prior chapter, they explained why he's getting a lot closer to Deku, and then they explained about the notebook and like the prior heroes, and Bakugo was explaining how he wants to keep pushing Deku forward, and how he's very doubtful about what some of the predecessors' ulterior motives are and stuff. So they're kind of expanding on his character a little bit. And then by the ending of this chapter, when Bakugo sees those 3 spikes coming for Deku, he even says it himself that he instinctively moved and he just ran in there. He pushed Deku out of the way, and then he gets pierced. That's very reminiscent of early on in the manga and in the anime when Deku, before he got his powers and everything, he ran in and he saved Bakugo, and then All Might said it too. That's what a hero normally does. That they move without thinking, that they don't worry about their own lives, more about the lives of others. And that's kind of how the chapter ends. A lot of people are speculating that maybe Bakugo's like severely injured, or maybe he may have died or something. But I don't think that the creator would kill off a character like that quickly.
Yeah, I don't think they would. It would be the best thing to have in the manga, but it would definitely wouldn't kill him off.
Yeah, the chapter is titled Katsuki Bakugo Rising, so I don't think this is him. This is just a very suspenseful way to move on, to keep us waiting for the next episode or next chapter. I'm pretty sure in the next chapter you're gonna see Bakugo get up and like it's nothing, and if he goes down, this ends up just being more character development for Deku and giving him more of a reason to keep fighting. So I don't know. We're just gonna have to wait and see what the next chapter is. I'll be sure to cover the next chapter next week when it comes out.
Yeah, that's the only thing we can really do.
Yeah, I've also been reading Demon School. There's nothing too interesting happening with Demon School right now. It's just more along the lines of everybody has to pretty much reach rank 4 if they want to keep the Demon King's classroom. So they're doing a musical thing right now. So there's not much interesting things happening right now. It's just everyone trying to level up. The funny thing, obviously, is of course with Kalego Sensei. This is his way of kind of getting payback. The main protagonist, and he's just since he's very skilled in very different in various musical instruments, is his way of like getting payback on the main protagonist, and he's pretty much being sadistic as hell in the way he's teaching him how to play the piano and everything. But other than that, there's not much of interest. I mean, I'll be sure to keep you guys updated with that. If anything cool happens with that one, but not much of that one yet.
So let's go ahead and end this with a very interesting final anime that I have just found. Another anime that will be getting a appearance, I believe, this next year, is An Elder Sister Like One.
Ooh, what's that?
Ooh, that one is specifically a very interesting story because, you see, this was originally a hentai doujinshi. That plot literally became so good that they decided to make it into an actual manga.
Okay, so it's a doujin that became a manga. So tell us about that.
Yeah. So in the story, pretty much, there's a guy who's very lonely. He has to live with his uncle now that his mother and father have died. Finds a dark space in one of the parts of the house that his uncle told not to visit. And in that dark space, he meets this very interesting looking girl that has horns and the legs of a goat, pretty much, and it's pretty much a demon.
Right.
And this girl tells him that she will be able to fulfill his wish. And his wish turns out to be that he wished he had an Onesan like her so that he wouldn't be lonely anymore. And she decides to fulfill that wish.
By becoming his Onesan?
Pretty much. While this happens, there's a whole mystery of how this girl came to be. What is this dark ritual sanctuary that's underneath his house? And who is this new mysterious high school girl that seems to be following him around? This whole anime has a lot of like small dots of slice of life while also having this air of mystery behind everything, and has an amazing kind of I want to say dark, wholesome side to it.
How do you get dark and wholesome together?
Oh, well, mostly the fact that, like, you can't really tell if the sister really loves him because of the wish, or is she just waiting for catastrophe to happen so that she can fulfill some kind of dark desire.
Right.
So this anime will give you those kind of feelings if you're looking for that. Anyways, that should pretty much give it all we got. This is all we have for now. Do you have anything else to add?
Not at the moment. So as this goes here, I believe the Neo Argama has finished refueling. So we'll see you guys next time.
Where hopefully we'll get back to some Gundam.
Hopefully, but at the moment, this is the Neo Argama crew taking off, and we'll see you guys at the next pit stop. Alrighty, this is Gundam Zeta taking off.